Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill.
You know what? I forgot to change the title for this one because you started telling me a story
I'm sorry.
about where you were last night, hanging out like some sort of late night savage, staying out to all hours of the evening and everything.
Oh man, I turned into a pumpkin. I'm struggling this morning. I
Yeah, why?
I'm
Why is that?
well, two reasons. Number one, I go to bed early. But number two, I was at a charity event, Tim Tebow's charity. He has, I guess, big financial donor friends in town, and I got invited and went. But bigger than that is I met a boyhood hero of mine while I was there, which is Mike Singletary. He was a linebacker for the Chicago Bears.
Hmm.
Hey, Mike. And I didn't know it was him. We're just chilling. There's like 50 of us at a party, and it's a huge house. And
Uh-huh.
so I walk over, I'm just meeting people as I do, and I shake this guy's hand. He's about 5'10" or so. And I mean, he's big, but he's just like 5'10" dude. I go, he goes, Mike. I said, Jake, Singletary? And he goes, yeah. I was like, what? Oh gosh, it was incredible. So, and he's just this super. I've always heard he's very humble, very very quiet guy, but on the
Hmm.
field he was a savage. So
Really interesting.
he's one of those weird combos that you're like, how are you that guy and that guy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man, that's good for you, dude. That's exciting.
yeah,
And you,
yeah,
and you weren't expecting anything at all, just like a regular. "Well, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go do the charity event thing, kind of
yeah,
thing."
yeah, yeah. It's a
Interesting.
friend. She invited me, a client friend,
Hmm.
and I was like, sure. And I knew she had a nice house. I wanted to see her house. I was like, that's cool. Yeah, let's go check your house and do this charity thing.
Good morning,
And then
Michelle.
I walk in and Tebow is like just like sipping on a Topo Chico in the corner, and so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to Tim Tebow. So yeah, it was fun.
Man, that's exciting, dude.
Yeah,
Um, Worth the lack of sleep.
yeah, yeah, because I got to hang out with a buddy of mine. Well, I went with a buddy of mine, so it's some good hang time.
Nice.
And yeah, as you probably know, because you were definitely in this camp, but I'm even partially in this camp, which is you just don't go out and do those types of things anymore after COVID. Like those events
Oh
aren't
yeah,
just regularly out there to do, and as you know, and I enjoyed it.
they're there, man. I get invites. Hey, John, you want to come all the way to Dallas? No, not really.
No,
Like, I go to Dallas for like concerts,
yeah,
and then I come right back to Fort Worth. You know. Um,
guys, I'm feeling vulnerable today. I'm letting my guard down. This is the workspace, y'all. This is it. So you
oh
see
man.
whiteboard number one, whiteboard number two, whiteboard number three. You can't see. Sorry.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. I am a fan of that. I love that. That's a great question, Dylan.
yeah,
Um, Let me tell you what I did yesterday. Right.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I got my five in. Not difficult to do. Right. Like that is just like making myself do it each day. And I had my calls, and then my last call was a lunch club call, and it got rescheduled. Right. Because they were busy. So at I'd say at 3:15, I'm done. I'm like done for the day. I'm like, this is I don't know what to do with myself, right? And I'm
Uh,
very excited about it, right? And I'm like, cool, all I need to do is my 30 minutes of movement mobility, and I'll
uh,
be good for the day.
uh,
And then I picked up my stupid phone, right?
uh,
And so I'm on the phone, I'm doing social interactions, I'm doing the stuff, I'm checking email, I'm checking my channels, I'm doing all this stuff, and then I look up and it's 5 freaking 30, man. And I'm like, oh, right. It's like I'm just a little bit irritated that
yeah,
I've lost like a good chunk of free time because I wasn't being hyper discerning and intentional with my time. And so yeah, so did my 30 minutes of movement and mobility, and then I gamed for a little bit. We had an excellent dinner last night. It was rad. It was late, but it was really, really, really good. So
yeah. That's
yeah,
good. I like a
Melissa
good
made
dinner.
chicken shawarma, which was just
Ooh,
bomb. Really, really, really bomb.
man, you. What's the term for someone not married that married up? You know, like you outpunted your coverage. There we go.
Yes, yes. That is a phrase I've used for others, and I do think it applies to myself as well. Yes, that is true.
So good.
Yes, definitely out punting my coverage. So what we have a guest tomorrow. I guess we should talk about the guest
Yeah, we
for
should.
people. Yeah. Tomorrow, guys, we're gonna have Will Aiken on the show, which is gonna be hilarious. Well, he is hilarious. I'm not trying to put pressure on him to be funny. Hey, show up and be funny,
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, interesting guy. He's using humor a lot in his videos. He's got some massive things on TikTok. He's got one video that has almost 2 million views, like 1.9 million. He's got a huge audience on LinkedIn, and he's using humor in his B2B content, which for some people that's like, oh, how could you, how dare you, like
Uh,
just go write a white paper kind of thing. And yeah, no, he's not doing that. And so really, really cool content. Talks exclusively about like enterprise selling, or selling for like big software companies in the middle market and everything. And so yeah, it's going to be a very, very cool conversation about using humor in your content, and how to do it well. I'm excited.
I love that. And I think what's really cool is it's not just humor. Like he also he's clever about it. Like you
Yeah.
can there's different types of humor, of course. And I think there are people who do humor on LinkedIn who are just trying to be funny.
Yes.
Right. And I don't like that. He's not in that camp. He's a totally different camp for me, which is
really it's like corporate bro. I'm not a big fan of the corporate bro stuff. I think it's funny, but I don't really think there's anything actionable in there. And a lot of Will stuff you can actually leave with a little bit more knowledge than you walked in with. He talks about how to overcome objections, how to do some of that other stuff. So it can be quite actionable at times. It's going to be a very cool chat.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's tomorrow. God, it's Thursday already, dude. Like, and hold on, it's the end of July. It's the end of July, which is
that's
the
real one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real
one. That used to be our mantra too. Almost every Thursday. Oh my gosh, it's Thursday already.
Yeah.
You remember
that? Yeah. I do remember that.
Here it is again.
Yeah. Good Lord. We launched on YouTube Shorts yesterday, which is pretty rad.
Okay.
It is so fascinating now, because now we've got these snippets of video that are being released on TikTok, and they're going out on Instagram, and now they're going to be going out on our YouTube channel. And it is so weird, something that gets like lots of impressions and views on Instagram will have like 200 views on TikTok. And my audience sizes are about the same on both of these platforms, right? They're like sub 200 followers, because I don't really do a whole lot on either one of these things. But we put up a video yesterday on all three. I'm sorry, on both the platforms, and on Instagram it had 10,000 impressions in like 4 or 5 hours, and on TikTok it had 200 views.
Yeah, they're such different platforms, though. The way people consume, because I really don't consume like what are they called, Reels on Instagram?
Yes.
I don't consume Reels on Instagram. That's all I consume on TikTok.
Yeah,
because it's the platform. And then funny enough, on YouTube, sometimes I do. I'll do the shorts. Instagram. So but buyer behaviors are such a huge thing that we spend very little time talking about, but we both talk about them.
Yeah, there's this one sales coach who's posting on TikTok. He's got some good stuff, and he was talking about on LinkedIn that he was frustrated. He's like, hey, this is an experiment, and so far it's not really been working. And I was like, man, how could you view this as not working? Because he was getting some good, because like he was getting some good engagement and stuff. And he goes,
I was like, what?
He was like, well, I'm trying to get people to go to my webinar, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. And I kind of had this idea of the way that he said that kind of put this thing into consideration, right? Like you're going to have your channel, that kind of like first up channel stage, right? If that's a webinar, then that's a webinar, but you might have to build a couple of stages between that webinar and between the exit of that social media platform. Because if you're on TikTok, it's not because you want to go watch a webinar. Like, I can't even tell you how hard a webinar would need to be positioned and sold for me to like want to sign up for it when I'm, checking TikTok. Like that just doesn't make any sense.
Such a hard ride from TikTok. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
yeah. So
yeah,
I was like, well, just build a bridge between TikTok and your webinar, right? Which might mean a couple of additional kind of broken out things that are super small and stuff. But it was just like the way that he said it made me think about it differently, which was
Yeah.
kind of cool. So
Yeah. That was a good post too, because I thought a lot of good practical advice down in the comments.
yeah,
A lot of people chiming in, and especially like his numbers for as long as he'd been on it. It was like, that's pretty respectable, actually. I
yeah,
would say. So
yeah. Like now at this stage, I kind of compare how hard it is to do the thing versus like how much reach I'm going to get, right? So, I can go write a post that tags 17 people and has a poll in it on LinkedIn, and it might get seen by, 1,000 people.
mhm,
Okay, that's pretty good. If I just do a value post, it's probably going to be seen by 200,
mhm,
250, somewhere around there,
mhm.
versus 10,000 in a couple of hours on a video on a different platform, right? So we're just kind of like tracking all this stuff and monitoring it. And so then whenever we can, have a big enough sample size, we can sit down and look at it and be like, cool, we need to spend more time here, right? So what this will probably look like is we'll actually start creating for Instagram, maybe, and then repurposing to TikTok, as opposed to TikTok being the leading thing and then also repurposing it from there. So I don't know though. We'll see what happens. It'll be an exciting experiment.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so much like continually changing in how content works.
Oh, Mike. He had to say it.
Oh,
He had to talk about it.
Mike better than me. Did he mean this?
Mike
He's
Mike
part of
said
your plan, so it could be sarcasm.
Mike said, let's push this button.
Yeah.
There's a thing,
I'm gonna
right?
at here everyone, guys.
Yes,
in Slack.
on I think this is a brand new feature. On Facebook groups now, you can do an alt everyone tag, right? And it tags everybody in that group. And so
Okay.
yesterday,
Yeah.
when I log into Facebook to go check that channel for the first time of the day, I have these 3 notifications from these groups, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is interesting." And I go in there and I check them, and they're all year plus old posts that had performed well before,
Okay. I mean, that's a
right?
thing.
And
Yeah.
then they were going back in there and trying to like swoop up another round of like interest on
Yeah.
like lead magnets and things like, you want my best 30. And I was just like, oh, this is going to go downhill
Yeah.
so fast, right? So I made a post talking about, uh, yeah, talking about this is going to ruin some groups
Yeah.
because these people are going to feel entitled to, well, this did well, therefore you need to see it, and we're just going to tag everybody. Like, we're going to find out really quickly whose groups are actually filled with information and nuggets and value, and whose aren't, and who's spamming that button. Because like I've had people not be a good fit for the Slack community because of how many notifications that Slack can like ship your way. Like, it can be a major productivity suck if you're not super careful with it, right? So I try to give everybody a guide about how to set up your notifications the right way and stuff like that. And I also try to not do those big amounts of things, because I'm in some other communities and they just spam it, spam it, spam it. And then what happens is like, I don't even check that community anymore. It's
I
just
know.
like,
I know.
I just go in there and I just like clear notifications. Okay, great. Was there a DM in here? No. Cool. Clear notifications and move on along my day. Right. It just becomes white noise. So you have to pick your spots very well, in my opinion. And I think that's gonna be a learning process for some of these people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're an admin of a group, you got to be on top of that. Like, I would not make it an option. I would turn it off if it was my group.
Yeah.
Like I have one in Discord called the Tilt, which is they've got a really great content newsletter, and they've actually got a really nice community going. And he even has crypto, because they're
Interesting.
It's Joe Paluzzi. I don't know if you know him. He's a huge content marketing guy. But same, the amount of stinking stuff that goes on in there, and I mute channels all the time. Like I mute notifications, I mute channels. I do even on top of that, when I get back in, I'm so overwhelmed by like all the different tags along the side. I'm like, I'm not really here for this.
Yeah, Discord is a whole other bag of hammers as far as like notifications, and it's just different enough from Slack that you kind of have to think about it as a separate tool. But yeah, like I'm in a couple of Discord groups. I'm in this one. It's like a creator community, and the host of that community is going to come on here because he does like a bunch of really cool creator challenges and challenges people about going and trying new things with their like art and things like. And I just think it'll be a very cool conversation.
Gary said "oi" to Slack. Tell us
That's
more.
true.
Gary. I love Slack.
I love Slack as well, but I do know people who won't use it, right?
You gotta mute. That's all it comes. They even have the hours. Mute for 3 minutes. Mute for an hour.
Yeah.
Mute for 2 hours. 4 hours.
Yep. And you can go in there and you can say, I want to be notified around these keywords, right? So if you're in multiple communities, I'm in 12 different Slack communities, so it's about trying to get in there, do the engagement, go on about my day.
Right.
Yeah. LinkedIn groups, I've never had any luck. I don't even know how I would engage in a LinkedIn group at this point. Like I don't even know where they live. I don't like it's such like a fragmented part of it compared to like Facebook groups, which have their own issues and problems and stuff like that. But Facebook is pushing groups, so
it is a huge shame because I think it's a huge missed opportunity for LinkedIn because there are people that want to be part of business groups.
I'll tell you what, if LinkedIn had the ability for like creators to create communities that they could charge for, that would be game over, right? As opposed to everybody trying to build their masterminds like, in whatever platform and thing that they could do, that could be interesting if LinkedIn was just like, cool, like if you're this kind of person or if you're big enough, you can launch your mastermind on here and, it's contained, that would be interesting.
Yeah, Q would own the world officially.
Q would own the world officially, yes. Yeah. LinkedIn doesn't do groups well. That's absolutely true, Mike. I've never had any luck with them
and
at
it's
all.
Clunky. Like function-wise too, it's very clunky.
Yes.
So,
I'm in a group on it started as a DM, a group DM on LinkedIn, and then that pool got too big, and so then they're like, so what do we do with this thing? And I was like, guys, Slack is free if you don't want to pay for it. And they were all like, oh, let's go do that. And some people don't make the jump, but it's a cool community. But
so I found this article yesterday, so I've been looking for this here in the last 2 minutes. Let's see, where is I don't ever share on this share screen. There we go. So there's this article that Rand Fishkin put out, right? And those of you who don't know Rand, he had
man, I saw this. God, this is so good.
It's so depressing, but it's so good, right?
Yeah.
So they wrote this article, and if you don't follow SparkToro, that's his newer company. These guys are so on it all the time. I love their newsletter, but essentially they're talking about now everyone, every platform you're on, unless you're on Quora, which some people are, right? They all keep you on platform. So your content has to be for the platform. So you were just talking about the TikTok trying to get people off to a webinar. Like every single platform is going to punish you for that. So you have to do something, which it's the whole gated content argument all over again. It's like there's no such thing as gated content on social anymore. It exists sort of if you gate it on the platform somehow, because Facebook has ways to do that now and stuff. But
I didn't know that.
You have to create content that people want to read, to stay for watch time or read time, to engagement on the platform. And that's how you have to earn people's trust now on social. At least a lot of it. They're making it so that you have to do that. Now, obviously, there's other people doing weird, crazy, awesome things. Like tomorrow, we're going to talk to a guy that's doing stuff that's different, right? But that's just one of those things that if you're not keeping on top of talking to experts, reading stuff that you would never know. Why isn't this working? Like, well, they literally punish you for doing that now. So stop doing it.
All those people who were like, hey, link is in the first comment. They're like, that is them blatantly trying to work around the delimiter of having an outside link, having the platform shut down the reach of that thing. And so this is the work, right? Of like, okay, let's test this post and let's test this version of this post. And there's people out here who this is all they spend their time doing, right? Is testing different things. But that blew my mind whenever I read that. I follow Rand's head of content. Her name is Amanda. I follow her on Twitter, and man, she is solid. So good when it comes to content and stuff. And that article was was awesome, right? Because like I was like 0-click content, like what does that even mean, and then I read the whole thing and it's like, yeah, that's true, like the
How
minute
happened?
somebody wants to ship me off site, the quality of that thing has got to be up, probably 30-40% over something that I can just read and consume on that platform and go on about my day. So make it good. Like,
Yeah. Well, and
yeah,
that's why it's even more important now than it was before that your profile is really well written, because that's how most
yes,
people are going to find your offsite stuff now anywhere you go. So they're
yep,
going to read your stuff, they're going to click your profile face, and then they're going to read your profile. And so if you
yep,
don't have a really strong copy there, that's where you miss a lot of opportunity.
yep, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of meetings yesterday. How did they all go? Did you feel fatigued at the end of it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did. But they were good energy, so they were not dragging
Okay.
at
That's
meetings,
good.
which always helps a lot with your
Yeah.
energy. I've been trying some breathing techniques, some stuff like that, in between calls to like reoxygenize my blood. So I've been doing a
Okay.
little bit of that. What's the guy's name? I was going to ask you about this guy. He is a neuroscientist. He kind of makes the rounds on the pods all the time. He's got a beard. He's fully tatted, but he always wears long sleeves. He doesn't show his tats. What's his name? He's fantastic. I got to get his name. I'll see if I can find it while we're here. But he has had some really fascinating content, and that's where I actually got back into the breathing stuff, because
Hmm.
Wim Hof's a little much for me. It's just a
Wim
little.
Hof is Wim
Yeah,
Hof is a little bit much for most
it's
people,
like
for
the
being
Bruce
honest.
Lee of breathing sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
um, I was trying to look for some other stuff, and I found this guy. But it turns out he's got all sorts of amazing stuff around neuroscience. So I have a new crush.
Nice.
That's what I'm saying.
Cool. Hey man, when there's something cool when you find someone to follow. Like it's such like a cool thing when you're like, oh man, I want more of this person. Like
Yeah.
it's such a and like how do I say this? Like this sounds like weird to say, but uh I appreciate it more now,
Hmm.
right? Like when I'm like, oh man, I need to go follow this person and stuff like that. Like it's like a bigger thing now because of creating content myself and like,
Yeah.
really trying to like thread that needle of doing it the way that you want to do, and then also putting out something that people want to read and enjoy and ingest.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think it's the whole
Good morning, River.
when you are creating content and you are creating. That's it, Dylan. Andrew Huberman. I found him right as you said that.
Sure you did, Bill. Sure you did.
Mhm, mhm.
I found it just as you said
There you go.
it.
Well, here you go.
Yeah.
Just to prove it. For that snarky remark. See, how to breathe while running. Andrew Huberman.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Okay, cool. I will take a look at this.
yeah. So this guy's
Not heard of him before, which is interesting.
yeah, yeah. He's good.
Um, so yeah, so today
Thanks,
the
Dylan.
goal, huh? Oh, thanks, Dylan. So today my goal is to like not lose myself in the phone for a longer period of time,
Okay, let's stop
and
there, because
get through the
phones
day.
like anything else. What do we have to do? Because I can tell you what I got to do to do that. What do you have to do to not get lost on the phone?
So today I have my morning gap. I need to do some writing and some documentation. I have sales practice lab. I have a client call that I think needs to shift to next week, if I remember correctly. Catch up with Christina, who we talk about operations, and then I have a lunch club call at 4. So I do have this kind of like late end of the afternoon kind of bookend. So
Okay.
unless that cancels, which does sometimes happen with lunch club calls, it probably won't shake out like it did yesterday to where something moves and I'm like, oh, all of a sudden now I have like 3 extra hours, stuff like that. Excuse me, I need a drink.
Is that the only time it really happens? Is when you just get these free gaps and you're like, oh, and so I'm gonna pick up my phone, see what Twitter's doing, and then the whirlwind happens or
Pretty
whatever.
much,
Yeah.
like it's okay. Well, let's go check the channels, right? And
Mhm.
my channel checks are all the social media platforms that we're on. I go check the Slack communities that I'm in, and the Discord communities that I'm in, and so a clean run with no notifications takes about like 10 minutes, but it's rare that I don't have any notifications on these things, right? So it can be that I get in there, like yesterday. Q did this really, really thoughtful, great post about creators on LinkedIn that he thought were like underrated and undervalued on the platform, and he tagged us in that thing because he really enjoyed the questions we asked him on the show.
Okay.
Super, super, super nice. But when I logged in the afternoon yesterday, my LinkedIn is blowing up in like a good way, you know, and so it's like, oh, interesting, and I'm getting new connections, and people want to hang out and stuff like that, and it's like it's exciting, it's fun. So it's not like I'm just like, oh god, I wish I wasn't doing
Oh
this, you know,
no,
but
that's the problem. Yeah,
it
it's
does
fun.
expand to fill the time allotted. So yeah, got to be incredibly
Like
thoughtful, intentional,
nothing else on earth, it
like
does.
nothing else on earth. You know, it's weird. It's like they build these things to do that to you on purpose. Isn't that weird?
It's like science.
No,
Boom.
there's no way they're doing that to us. There's no way they're trying to make us dependent on these platforms at all.
Hey, people are all good. There's nothing wrong with people. You get your
Exactly.
mind out of the gutter. Okay.
It's true. People are great.
People are awesome.
Um, so yeah, it's when something changes in my day,
Okay.
and then I'm like, oh, well, let's just go do a channel check. It's like kind of like my impulsive behavior, right? Of like, ooh, I have a couple free minutes. Let's go check the channels. Kind of go do this thing. So
Yeah.
I'm probably doing it more than I should. I should probably schedule that, and so that way it's not kind of taken over the way that it can. But it wasn't like I was just like doom scrolling or anything, you know, like it was it was logged into like LinkedIn, and I have 35 notifications on different things, you know, this show and
Yeah.
different things like this. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's gonna be confusing
Yeah.
today because I forgot to change the title. Sorry everybody, it's not actually Wednesday. I'm not trying to like ruin your week or anything.
Yeah.
We're closer to being done than you think.
Yeah.
Gabe is here.
Yes. Hi, Gabe. Bye, Gabe.
Hi Gabe. Bye Gabe. Sneaking in last second.
That's
Gotta
right.
go.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. So, Gabe, have a fantastic Wednesday, not Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, so very, very cool. Thank you, Q, for the post and the tag. If you're watching this and you're new to hanging out with Jake and I, we talk about accountability. We talk about trying to get lots of things done and also being balanced with the other parts of our life because we have kids and families and other responsibilities. And man, who wants to work all the time? Honestly, nobody.
Yeah. Yep. We're just here to screw up in front of you so we can all learn.
Yes,
Honestly.
exactly.
That's
Don't step in the same as I step in.
Mhm.
You should step around those things, which is why we're doing this, because we do not have everything all figured out, like not even close. We fail a lot. And so this is about capturing those failures, also capturing how we keep the momentum and stuff like that.
That's right. Wins and losses.
Wins and losses.
Take
they
them
both happen.
That's right.
Exactly. So what do you have today?
Bye, Michelle. I have got several meetings, but I've got some shifting around of some priorities that came up yesterday. We can talk about off area
Okay.
at work at the job. So I have to do a little bit of a reset today, which will take a couple hours for me to kind of move some things around for the next week or two.
Okay.
But it was a good one. It was a good shift.
Cool.
So, and yeah, meetings, some follow-ups, a book I got to finish. Oh, The Coaching Habit is the book I'm reading right now. Holy cow. Holy cow.
Hold on, I'm putting it on the whiteboard. Coaching Habit.
It's so good, and I have a call in 1 minute that I'm actually going to run, get it, and show you on camera. It's that
good. Yes, Gabe. Today is Thursday. I forgot to change the thing. Michelle, have a great day. The Coaching Habit: say less, ask more, and change the way you lead forever. Oh, that's interesting. That feels like right in my lane of.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah. I have JH about 3 spots right now in the book.
because they're things you've seen me do, or because they're things I need to be doing desperately.
Yes.
Heard and acknowledged, sir. I'll be picking that book up today. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. I will pick that up today. I can't wait to talk to you about it. That'll be awesome.
So good. I'm almost all the way through it. I'm gonna immediately reread it. I'm
gonna immediately reread it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you feel the energy around it? It's so good.
Yeah. Man, I'm just excited that Dylan is holding on to this joke.
that if we want to talk about lanes, that's Dylan's lane, man. He has got that down.
Absolutely. Sure. Cool, man. I'm going to pick that book up. I'm excited. I got another book yesterday in one of my calls that I'm excited to read. But yeah, we will see everybody tomorrow. We're going to talk about humor and TikTok and videos and repurposing and how to not take it all too seriously, so that way you'll actually try it and start. So it's going to be awesome. Will is a funny guy and knows a lot of stuff about sales. It's gonna be rad. It's gonna be very, very cool. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Cheers.
Bye.